Well, with the holidays just around the corner, Dr. Bleaken joins us now so we can ask the VitaPet vets those all-important questions about looking after our pets when we go away, or do we bring them along with us? Good morning, Dr. Lauren. Nice to see you again.
Nice to be here.
So, if we've opted to put our cat or our dog in a kennel or a cattery, what do we need to make sure we've organised for them before they go into care?
Yeah, so it's going to be those health basics that are really important. So your vaccinations, so getting out the dusty vaccination books and checking when they're due. Important because they'll probably need about 2 weeks from when they're vaccinated to when the kennel will accept them. That gives them adequate time to mount an immune response and recognise that vaccine, keep them protected. So you don't want to leave it to the day before for sure.
Right.
Also, defleeing and deworming. So really want to stay on top of those fleas because kennels are really commonplace catteries as well, where they're going to pick up those nasty, creepy collies.
I just did that yesterday. It is so easy. You just squeeze it and then it's done.
Yeah,
monthly.
It's really quick and easy, and it's really effective as well. Starts working straight away. So if you make sure you apply that before they go, and then that will protect them for the whole 4 weeks, depending on how long you're gone, of course. But that'll give them 4 weeks protection. So you just want to make sure that they're safe, basically, with their health while they're there. Kennels and catteries aren't inherently risky places at all, but they are a place where lots of animals are together, and we don't want to be spreading things amongst each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's an important thing to remember.
Okay, what about making them feel safe wherever you're leaving them? Because, you know, you sort of have to dump and run a lot of places.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a great idea to chat to the kennel or cattery about what you're allowed to bring, because some of them have strict no bringing property rules. Because,
anything, yeah.
Yeah, and that's because things can get chewed on and destroyed if we're talking about dogs in particular. But if you're clear that you don't mind if said item is damaged while they're there, but it's important to their comfort, they may be willing to let you bring things along. So a bed or a toy. Sometimes if you're not allowed to bring those.
Favourite toy?
Yeah, so something that they love at home that they're used to that smells like them, and bringing them along, that's a great way to make the kennel feel less foreign and a smell that reminds them of you.
A sweaty t-shirt from someone?
Honestly, actually a good idea that you can do. It does smell like, so it doesn't have to be a toy. It can be, you can just wear a t-shirt to bed a few nights, send it off with them, and then you might not mind if you have to replace it when they come back.
Another popular thing that people do is get pet sitters in, whether they're known or unknown to the animal. Yes. What are some of the key considerations for that before you hand over the keys to your house and your pet?
So this is a really great solution if you're not comfortable with a kennel or cattery, or if you have a pet that gets anxious, or another reason is if they've got some complex medical needs, or not so complex. It can just be a choice.
It's also cheaper too, by the way, probably in a lot of cases. Yeah.
Or, you know, if you want a house sitter and you've got a pet, they can do both at once. Sometimes depends on the pet sitter. So I think the most important thing is meeting the person. It's like anything, like childcare. You want to make sure you're comfortable with them and that you meet them and you have that good feeling and connection. You also want to use that as an opportunity to discuss what you're looking for from them. So make sure that they can actually meet the requirements you need. Do you need them there all the time? Are they just doing twice daily feeding? Can they administer the medications you need, given? So that's important. And then making sure that when they go, you leave them detailed instructions they can refer back to so they're not bothering you on holiday. And another one that I've encountered in practice that I think is a really good one to preempt for is, what do they do in a medical emergency? They get brought to the vet clinic, the vet doesn't have permission to go and accrue lots of vet bills. So making sure that you either speak with your vet in advance and your pet sitter, this is what I want done, here's how we pay for it. So that they're not in an awkward position and your pet gets the care it needs if it's required.
What about for the actual pet, if they're going to be left with a stranger? How can we make sure that they're not stressed? I mean, if they're in their own home, that goes part of the way, but still with a new person, with new rules maybe.
Yes, yeah, and I think being in their own environment helps a lot because you're removing that component of the anxiety. But it's important to meet the person. Again, that's one of the reasons I stress that, so that it's not a stranger. It's someone they've met a couple times. They've gotten pats and cuddles from that person, so they're not a danger in their mind. They're a comfortable familiar. But ultimately, sometimes, especially if it's an anxious dog or cat, there can be some stress behaviours. So if we're talking dogs, they're a little bit easier to talk about with these things. Working on those separation anxiety behaviours can really help. So Dr. Jess Beer has done a really great video on the VitaPet website about dealing with separation anxiety. I know it's a different topic, but they do dovetail together somewhat because it's anxiety about you leaving plus then a new person coming. So working on those separation anxiety issues can be a good way to help smooth the road. So rewarding calm behavior, go and put your shoes on, but don't go anywhere. Give them a nice tasty treat. VitaPet treats are great for these, little small treats that you can hand out and give lots of them. But yes, trying to make sure that you do those things that might trigger an anxious behavior, and then not going through with it. Pick up my keys, but I don't leave, and then you get a nice treat.
Yes,
so there's not building up all that anxiety about you going.
I know, Alfie gets very excited when I pick up the lead, so I've just started walking around the house with the lead. He doesn't know which day we're going to go out with it and which time we aren't.
Great scarf.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so lucky old Alfie gets to come away on holiday, let's say.
Yes.
How do we ensure he's good in the car and he's calm in the car?
Yeah, so I think going on road trips, little trips around town is great. You don't want to take your pet who's never been in a car and put them in it and go for 7 hours, because that's a recipe for disaster. And I think just pre-planning, you need to make sure you take all the basics you need at home. So you're going to still need your food and water bowl. I always forget to take the dog's separate bottle of water. I ultimately end up thirsty. The dog's well quenched. So making sure you plan a little bit.
Of course, in the car. Yes, you need dog water.
You need dog water, yes. And making sure then that you plan your journey ahead so that there's stops where you can open up the car, let the dog go toilet, offer them water. A lot of dogs won't drink or eat in a moving vehicle, so giving them a chance to stop and take care of those needs is important. Also, as we're going into summer, the weather's getting warmer. Just a reminder, we never leave pets in a car, and they might be parked in the shade with the window cracked. You might think it's all right, but please don't do that. Yeah. Please plan that there's a place where you can have someone in the vehicle and leave the air conditioning running, or that you won't need to stop and leave the dog unattended on your way.
What about securing your pet in your vehicle? I mean, can they just roam, or should they be harnessed in like a child, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's no hard and fast rules, but ideally they should be secured for two reasons. One, to protect their safety, and two, to protect yours. So they become a flying object in a vehicle crash, and that's dangerous to them and it's dangerous to you. There are different ways of doing it. Some people have barriers in the back of their car. That'll keep the pet from becoming a flying projectile, but it won't protect the pet necessarily. So you can buy harnesses. So VitaPet, we have got a car harness. It duals as one that you can also clip a lead to, so it's great for when you're traveling, lead on, then you buckle into the seat belt. So that keeps them from becoming that danger to themselves and others if there was to unfortunately be an accident, which there won't be because it's holiday season and everyone's driving safely.
Thanks for your wonderful advice. As always, nice to see you.
No worries, thank you.
And for more expert pet advice, head to the VitaPet website, and any of the VitaPet products we have discussed this morning are available in your local supermarket.